and I played good the game before. So, what can you do?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, man, if I really look at it, I think about it more. I think it's more of a, if you ask me, it's more of a, it's they're planning to not have you some games because of, I don't know, your back, you told me last time that you had a back injury that, it's going to be fractured or whatever. It's not going to heal.
Yeah.
And the coach knows that, right?
Yeah. Of course, yeah, I mean, that could be definitely part of it. And I mean, look, we did need another midfielder because, we're not using Yurdi, the Dutch player.
Yeah.
So, but I thought it was interesting who the type of player they decided to bring in. But that's not.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, like I said, this young guy, this Lane guy, he has nothing of what you have defensively. So I don't think they have another player like your profile. So if you go down, you're injured, man. They have no six unless they pull a center back in there. So at the end of the day, man, I think it's really important that that you understand how valuable you are to this team, and maybe they're just like, and maybe that's why they're even trying him out, is just to see how he interacts with them, just in case something happens to you, man. But I mean,
it could be that way too.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think you played really well last game. I mean, we'll go over like the passes you didn't make incompletion wise, but we'll also look at the numbers of like where you spread the ball, kind of what you did, and I think it was one of the best games I've seen from you. You looked like a more complete midfielder, and like there's just a big difference when you're playing the ball forward and what it does for your team, man. And we talked about it last game. What our last time we did this, the difference of one short pass, man, like or like a one touch pass or a two touch pass. Same thing with passing. Like you make a decision to play forward instead of back sometimes. Well, that the whole defense shifts, man, and or they don't have time to shift, right? And your next player has a little bit better situation, and I mean that's what it all comes down to. So like I know you had, I think it was like 3 incomplete passes or something like that in the game. I don't count headers and stuff, man. I go through these and count them all, man. And I don't count headers for either way, really, unless you have loads of time and you place it, right? For the most part, if you're challenging, I'm not counting that as a lost pass. I think Instat might count that you're like, if you win a header as a pass sometimes, but, or like a lost pass too. But, for the most part, man, like, 50-50 duels and stuff like that. I'm talking about your passing, and we'll kind of look through the numbers here and we'll kind of go through it a little bit. Here, I actually made some graphs too, man. Like it's just easier to look at the numbers, and they don't all like fit. Like you can see my screen here, right?
Yep.
All right. So let me, I'm going to zoom out here because this is really zoomed in, but, so I made some graphs with the numbers, and this was you against Lati. And over on the left here, we still have the Hoiberg game. So same one against England, I believe. Yeah, just because I don't want to analyze another one of his games right now. It takes
of course.
But I put it in the graphs, right? And the problem is he's playing a 3-4-3, and I should change this. You guys were playing. I just copied it from the other page, but you guys were playing 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1.
4-3-3.
Okay. It looked like a 4-2-3-1 at times, but I mean those, it can be interchangeable anyways. You and the lane guy playing underneath, right? Like so this was from this game, man. Like these were your stats from this game. I'll try to see if I can zoom in here a little bit more, but you see like that's a giant difference, man, from before. And I'm not I don't know if I did a graph for the Haka game or the Hoiko game. Oh, maybe I did do a graph for this a little bit.
It was like mostly back in the square.
Yeah, I at least did that. And it's a different game, right? And we understand that, but you're still playing a really good team in the league that was in a really good spot, right? And this was it. That's the difference. Like on the left, it's a Hoiko, and then this is this game, right? And I didn't put the incomplete. You may have had one there. I didn't put that on that graph. I just threw that in there, but like that's a big difference, man. Like a little bit more square passes, which isn't always the best, but if you have a good relationship, it's okay. Back passes, I think that's good, man. I mean, you can even be higher on that. Like we've talked about, sometimes you just want to draw in the defenders and kind of go like that, but just so many more forward passes, and majority of your passes. And I kind of take like a 30-degree angle, anything that's like 30 degrees, to the, obviously forward or backwards. That's what I count as I think sometimes they say 45, but I say 30, like anywhere 30 degrees forward or backwards is a back or square or forward pass. Anywhere in that 30 degrees, I consider a square pass when I go through the numbers. So that's a big difference, man. And that was nice to look at too. Like and it was good for your team as well. And there were a lot that were in that 45-degree range. So they weren't like, straight up like a 90-degree pass, like you get it, and you go straight up the field. But that's what your team needs from you, man. And I actually organized all the clips, and then I guess it doesn't save like that. So you have to keep it open. So I lost them all. But I'm not sure how much we're going to look at that anyways. But like I also kind of, these would be your receptions, right? Or this would be your passes, like who you pass to, right? And if we look here, like I'm just gonna go full screen on this right now. If we look here, is like, okay, you're still getting a lot from DeLucas, you're passing a lot to DeLucas, because as you went back and you orchestrated a little bit, right? There were good moments, and we can look. I'll look at some of these quick. Where you just got back, you got in between, you orchestrated, and I think a big part of this though is because Lati also wanted the ball to DeLucas, right? They didn't really want it on Freeberg. It looked like they were forcing you guys a little bit more to the right side. And more Meladuma, whatever his name, Duma or whatever. It looked like their intention was to put it that way. Even though Freeberg's left-footed, I think they know him in the league. They know he's a good passer. They know this Maludama guy's a pretty good player too. It looked like they were forcing you more that way. So like when you did get on the ball, you'd pass with Freeberg a little bit, but like they were kind of like giving you DeLucas, right? And it's fine. Yeah. He actually played really well too. I mean, he made some good dribbles out of the back. He released pressure. He did really well. I don't think he's as good offensively as Freeberg at the end of the day. Like if I had to rate him as a player, but I think defensively he's big time. Besides you, he's the most important defensive player, for sure. But yeah, I mean, on this game, I think you played equally on both sides too, man. So I don't think really any of it matters on the rest of it. I did look at these numbers earlier. I don't know if you look at these numbers and any of it makes more sense to you or less sense. Like I said, left wing back and left center back. Like I said, if you really look at it, it looked like they were trying to force you a little bit. Like these numbers here, it looked like they were trying to force you a little bit to the other side. And that's something, you can think about too, going into a game, is like in the first 5 or 10 minutes, like seeing how they're, where they're angling their pressure, where they're stealing their pressure, they're forward. Right. And it seems like you have a really good relationship, obviously with what's his name, Cheaty, man, because you guys have played together for a while. So I think you guys get back and forth quite a bit. And then the midfielder, for me, it's a little high, right? Like for the midfield. I know you guys play off each other well, but a lot of them were square passes. Sometimes they weren't. And that's fine, as long as you're getting it back and getting underneath, or else, or releasing your pressure a little bit off of you. But, those passes can be dangerous. If you lose one of those, man, then they're in on the back four. So
now I will say that one thing our coach has been emphasizing the last couple of weeks is to try to the center midfielders passing to each other a little bit more. And yeah, it is a little dangerous, but the thing is then it sucks midfielders in more, and then it creates more space. So we've been working a little bit on, if I receive it, I mean, obviously first option forward or wide, but if I can find Yape, who's the other midfielder lane, if I can find him, that's going to bring in not only one midfielder, but typically another one. And then from there, we go out wide. And it creates a little bit more space. And I think it's just kind of, as a midfielder, the more you get on the ball, the more the team gets going. So I think that's why this is a bit higher, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, well, I agree. But if you look at a lot of the passes in the game, I think it's different when you receive it and like it's more of a diagonal pass. I think for me, like a couple too many of them were the square ones. If you actually do look back in the game, a little bit like there's one pass that Yape or whatever he played like a diagonal ball to you, which was good. It was kind of over the top, right? You received it out of the air. But yeah, I think that's probably what he's saying. I don't know if he wants as many square passes. I think maybe he's saying you receive it farther back and then you play it up maybe like 20, 30 degree angle, or to the other guy on the other side. Or is he saying he wants it square? You receive it and you play it square. Like,
I mean, to be fair, it's not like he was being specific on where it is. He's just saying that he wants the center midfielders to pass to each other more.
Yeah.
Was the emphasis. And we were doing like a few different drills, and obviously you don't want it to be square in the midfield, because that is, like you said, super dangerous. So
yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah,
this
I
is
mean,
that's breaking down. If I break down the position, right? And like, okay, Perme or whatever, he's a 10, man. So that's really fine. But he's in the midfielders, right? We put him in there. And you kind of look at
mhm.
that, like this is normal, this is normal. And then we go look at, obviously it's a different game, man, but we look at Hoiberg over here and like, okay, this is also a much different game though, too, because they only had they played a 3-4-3, and I technically counted I probably shouldn't have, but I counted the outside backs as wing backs. So if I put them in the midfielder, I guess that's going to change those numbers quite a bit. Let me see. I could actually put them in the midfielder probably. That would be 13, and then that would be 13. I think something like that. Yeah. Well, then it gets a lot more normal. 3-4-3. It's a lot more midfielders, right? But that would be his if I put those guys in the midfielder, and obviously you saw it as defenders. I think when you build up, I guess they do become outside midfielders. So it's all how you kind of look at it. But
Yeah.
you know, it's all the perspective of how you look at it. But yeah, I think that's fine. I'm saying in general, like if you do play it and get underneath them, like there's a really good example. I was watching like this is I think really good. And this is what I was kind of trying to tell you last game. So I was watching this game, and this is Olu against Ilves, right? And I picked this game because for me, obviously things are going to change a little bit because it's 3 or 4 games ago or something. But Ilves is at home, right? Just like you guys are going to be at home. Oh, I want to see how Olu plays away from home, and Ilves is really close to you guys in the league too. So I don't know where they were at that point, but I kind of want to see that. So let me see if I can find this one. Yeah, it's number 5 here. I organize these a little bit, so
Hold on one second, Kyle.
yeah.
Sorry. All right, go ahead.
No Tindering during our Zoom meetings, man.
I'll get some water.
Yeah. You got the Tinder over there, man?
Of course.
Yeah, man. That's you got to
Of
in Finland,
course.
bro. They're scared to talk English if you meet them in person without talking to them on the phone forever. Hey,
Yeah.
so this is what let's see if I can find this here. 23. And this is what I was kind of talking about. Yeah, so this is their number. They played a 4-1-4-1 in this game, but this is the one, right? And to be honest, I'm not a fan of him defensively, so it's good. He's a pretty smart guy offensively, but he's here. And this is what I was talking about, the give and goes a little bit. You overcommit this guy, he gets it back, and now you see he gets underneath and he kind of just spreads the field, right? Like that's pretty good orchestrating. And honestly, man, I was not surprised I saw this because he's not very good defensively. But like, yeah, this guy's in his way. That's where it's like he disguises it too. I mean, you look where his vision here, man. He's looking this way, and of course, you know, like we said, your strikers aren't the best players in general. And you know, after that, he's kind of, oh, that guy doesn't think he's going to get it back. He gets it back, and now he plays it here. And this guy's actually pretty opened up. But that's what I was talking last time about Lane is like you demand it back, you get it, you're faced up the field, or you could just play it out the way that, you know, a different way that it came from. So I guess for me, those are good square passes when you know you're going to get underneath, and it's fine. But like, there was one pass in there's one pass in the game. It was just like, I think you made the right move. You relieved pressure with it, but like the guy was too close to you, I think, to be honest, the Yape guy, and it just could have been dangerous, but it was a right pass to make. I don't think you made any bad ones. Just kind of look at all. You didn't, but just kind of looking at those numbers, obviously, you know, what my coach in Sweden was like, right side, wrong side, right? As much as you can like play a guy that's wrong sided facing your own goal, and then play it up to the next guy who's right-sided, right? Whether you're playing him a through ball or things like that, right? We called it right side, wrong side. I don't know if you guys do patterns and stuff like that. You know, you skip a line, lay back.
And yeah, I'm a big fan of just your standard up back through, like you're talking about, where you skip the line and then bump it back to someone who's already faced up, as opposed to turning. I think, like, especially as a midfielder, like receiving a ball from a forward where you're faced up, it's the dream. And that's where we're not the best at getting that. And that, I think that comes down to all 3 layers, because all 3 layers need to be connected. But but absolutely, that makes it I love those combinations.
Yeah, I think I mean that's what, if you can, you're doing good dragging defenders or doing good every that. If you can get underneath it a little bit more and get those guys to lay it up, it looks like the Vucinic guy, whatever, that guy that played up top. I'm never gonna get these European names, man. So just deal with it, man. I might just
Yeah,
start saying the first initial, but it looks like you and him have a good relationship, right? He plays the ball to
yeah,
you play it to him. So that's important, man. And I think that's gonna definitely that's gonna be important moving forward for you if he continues to play, and he should after last game, right? There's no reason he shouldn't.
yeah, he'll
Play after last game. But then that kind of leads us into the next thing here. Is like, all right, we look at where you receive the ball from, right? Like, and just because, I mean, it makes sense because your coach is saying it, but you got a lot from that Yape guy, which that's not bad. That's also good. He respects you a lot, right? He's willing to play you, and it's not always like that. So like the majority of your receptions here are from him. If you kind of look at, I got the numbers here, and kind of broke down the percentages up here, and then I just add them in a graph. And like right center back to Lucas, I think you and him went back. You established a lot, right? So that makes sense. Outside left back, that's a good number. That means you're getting the ball switched a little bit to Maladama. I think you were getting over there a lot as well. Like I said, you were probably 50-50 in that game. Like you and Yape didn't have really a side, from my in my opinion. Here with Saarinen, right? Like you're spreading it well. You're getting it from him. Sorry, you're getting it from these guys. You were over there. You're getting a lot here. And, I think it's good that there's a very equal distribution, especially if you're playing 50-50, right? You're getting it from everyone. You got it. Like I said, you got it from V. We'll just call him V from now on. And you got it from Perme, maybe a little bit more from him. And maybe you can raise these numbers a little bit. Get underneath them potentially. If you're a 6, though, it might not happen that much. If you're playing like a designated 6, like these numbers may not happen, or sorry, not those numbers, these numbers, that's fine, right? If you look at the end of the day, as long as you're getting it from them some, and it depends on the situations, whether it's established or what, but I think that's good. Like, and then go down and look at this again. There's where you got your receptions from. If we put them into positions, right? You're getting mostly from defenders, which is normal. If you look at, Hoiberg, it's very similar to, if we look at his stuff here where he's receiving, it's very similar. Like I said, I just put it more like a I didn't put the midfielders really in there except for his partner, his number 8. So it was more like when I put it, it was like a 5-2-3. That's how I saw the 3-4-3. But it's very similar to yours, as in the defenders have more of it, right? The defenders have more of it, and then you're getting it more from the defenders, which makes sense as a 6. You should be getting a lot from defenders, and you're getting some from the midfielder, and then which would be similar for his, and then you're getting enough from the attackers. He's maybe getting a little bit more from the attackers, but that's also because they have more established possession, I think, at that level, right? We're talking about some of the best players in the world. And when you're more established, you have the ball in their half more and you can get it. I think there's times you can look at it a little bit more, but I want to, it's easier to see the graphs and look at the numbers there and kind of see where you're getting things from rather than just have a list. So, but it was a really good game, man. I don't think I did that. I didn't do the graphs yet for the Marenheim, and I think that would be interesting to look at those, because I think they would be somewhat similar. I don't think you played it forward as much, but man. Like, so for me, look at this game. Like I think this game for me was overall a really good performance, man. Even the passes you missed, man, they were worth the risks. Like, start off, like literally one of the first clips I saw, this is like, I was watching this on my phone, like before I passed out, like I think the night after it happened or something. Like, you probably remember this play here. I feel like 90% of the time before you're going to go back here and that's what I'm saying. You go back here, that's a fine pass. It could also be pretty dangerous, man. If he loses the ball or he gets picked up, if you go to Yape there, and then you a little shimmy, man, you open it up. Now you get in Perme, right? That's one of your passes to him. Now Saarinen or whatever, you should, I think Chidi can do better with that. But you see that, man, like all that started from your pass. Like, what is he going to do? Like, in my opinion, what's the the Yepe guy going to do if you play him right here, man? Best case scenario, he turns back and goes out the other side. I don't know.
Absolutely. I was pretty, I was definitely trying to go forward more. And then instead of playing here, and I remember I had looked up, because, when I received it, the first thought was to get the ball switched out, but I didn't think it was the right thing. Then just boom, turned up. Tino was in a good spot, bang, bang. And we were pretty damn close to scoring on this right off the bat. So.
Yeah, man. I think it was a really good move by you. And it's just a simple move. And you're doing it toward the outside. So it's not really dangerous either. That guy's gone. Now you play a through ball. And I didn't really get into it as much. Like, sorry, I got caught up with the graphs and stuff. But I would like to, like I said, look at the time under pressure that you have the ball. Like how much time do you have when the defender's within a meter or something, right? Like, or 2 meters. And that was a good moment right there. And keeping the build on that a little bit. And like, let's see what else. Oh yeah. This was just a difference in the nonverbals, man. Like, look at here, like what you're doing. And that's a difference. Like, I honestly, sometimes these guys won't play that, but like, let's see if I can zoom in here. Yeah. Like, you can see your hand out, right? Like, there you go. You're calling for it. That right there. And you do it a couple times, man. Like, that's big. He's going to give you the ball because, if he looks up, he sees it. And I'm sure you're calling for it as well. It's verbals and nonverbals. It's both, right? Like, it's a combination. I'm sure, but I hadn't really seen that much in the other games, man. And that was good to see. And I'm telling you, got on the ball more, man. You had a lot more passes. It's the same thing. I think right here, I think right there. Yeah, it's hard to see, but like here, I think you're gesturing with your hands here. Like give me the ball, right? Like, and that's good.
Yeah.
It's a tight space, but like you're gesturing for it. And now this guy has to maybe react a little bit here, and DeLucas can go because now he sees that, okay, you're calling for it and you want the ball. He has to adjust a little bit. But that's why I said the more the ball comes in your feet, the more the defenders are going to adjust to it, whether it's subconscious or conscious, right? And there was another in there somewhere, man. I forget where it was, but I mean, do you think you subconsciously did that, or you consciously like, hey, I'm gonna demand it with my body and my voice?
Yeah, I mean, I think I went into the game and like before the game, I remember like I kept just like telling myself, like, get on the ball, because we had talked about like just straight up, I need to demand the ball more, like you said, calling for it and making it obvious that I want the ball, not just that I'm ready for it. So I'm sure it was, not a in the moment conscious thing, but I'm sure it was, unconsciously that I knew I was going to be demanding the ball, and then things just keep going, and with success, then you're going to want it more and all those things.
Yeah. And I was just, I agree 100%. Like, I think but you and I talked about visualization, man. And this is what I would always do, man. Like, I would analyze the team I was playing against. I would analyze my game. And then like, I didn't go into like meditation or anything, man. I'm not like a hippie, man, even though I had hair like one when I was playing for half the time. and to be honest, there's nothing wrong with it, man. Dude, sometimes I try to go into meditation now. I joke about that, man, but that stuff it's useful. Meditation, it doesn't have to be visualization, just like slowing your brain down, man. There's a reason that like many successful people do that. But I didn't really always go into that because my mind moves. It doesn't really work that well, but I did do it. I did do visualization. Like, hey, I'm going to get the ball in this situation. I'm going to ask for it in this situation. Then you put your mind through it. And then you go through the situation in the game. You're like, all right, I've already been through this, right? Like, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And that's why I did the analysis, right? So I knew exactly what to do in what situation. Like, if you look, this is another situation, man. You're like, this is a guy we were talking about last game that wasn't really playing you the ball much, right? Like, and here you're demanding it. I'm sure you're demanding it with your voice, but you're calling for it too. Like, you're clapping, man. I love it. Like, you're like, give me the ball, man. I don't know if you're having a conversation, but if you're clapping, and you do it another time, I think in the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're telling them like, give me the ball. And like, in the game, man, it's like, if you're really adamant about something, and that's why, I don't think players really understand Ronaldo and that why he gets pissed at his players. And like, he's just an example because everyone knows him, but dude, you have to be vocal. And sometimes you almost have to like clap or something like that, where they're like, whoa, like it snaps them, right? It's like a wake up, or like you have to yell at them and be like, dude, I need the ball there. Like, why aren't you playing me the ball, man? And then it wakes them up a little bit, because if you just call for it and you're like, it's okay with it, there needs to be those emotions and those tensions, man. And that was good. This was one that, you got a couple passes with De Lucas, but like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you see, they're almost playing like I don't even know what you would call this, man, a 4-3-3, I guess, defensively. But like, you see how this guy's coming around here, whatever, Kanji or something. That's what I'm talking about. They were doing that to Lucas. You see, when Freeberg had that, like, they didn't have either the number 10 or whatever. They didn't come up. But as soon as De Lucas got it, like, I feel like they started to steer it a little bit. When you go back and Freeberg had it, it's a little farther back the field, but now you see this guy drops off. And then, when De Lucas gets it, that's just what I saw, right? And tactically, you go through the game, like, we want this center back on the ball, or we want this player on the ball. And that's why I think when you look at the passing distribution, it was a little bit more one way.
Yeah. When I look at this, maybe, I mean, it's hard to tell where the right back is.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at this right now, I mean, when I'd seen this earlier, I think the pass onto the gap to either number 7 or a left back is on right here. So it would have been nice to get my vision up and pop it up over the top. But
he's got to be back there, though.
I think even. What'd you say?
I said he's got to be over here, man. He's got to be right there, right?
See, that's what when I was looking back at it, I was thinking, I was like, I wonder if I didn't play it because, that is kind of a longer ball and he'll just step to it, so it makes it a little risky. I don't think there's anything wrong with what I did, but I was just looking at, if I could bypass these 3, I mean, potentially 6 guys, it would have been a great pass.
Yeah, man. I mean, I like that you're thinking that. And that's a little bit risky. Like, it depends. Right here, you might be able to just slide it through this gap here, right? Like a little curved pass or a chip over the top. It's just got to be the right height, so he doesn't get clobbered by whoever this guy is over here, right?
Yeah.
But I agree, man, that if you can find those, and to be honest, Hilska might be making it harder for you because he's dragging this guy over a little bit, but he's also trying to find a good lane. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, it's a good look, to be honest. I really didn't see much wrong. Like, I understand the risk reward part of it. Like, and no, but that was good. You're on the ball, man. You're on the ball. And then, I think just see how they're doing it. And De Lucas played really well, man. So to be honest, if that was their strategy, I'm not sure it worked on the day. Offensively, defensively, he always plays really well. And then, here, let's see. The next one was pretty simple here. It's just like the you skipping a pass here, man, and the difference skipping a pass here makes, right? Like, you're here, and of course you can play the ball here to Maludama, right? Like, you can easily play it there, but you go here, and then the whole defense has to shift, man, and you do that. Like, you play that pass, and the whole defense has to shift, and it puts them in a little bit different situation. And okay, this guy, maybe he's not the best across. I don't know. He tried to hit a flat ball. But either way, I think that was a good option right there. I think sometimes you may want to play that short. You're pretty good at finding these passes that are, pretty open, but that's a really good one-touch pass. And I think those are things like, that's the importance of skipping a pass when you can, man. And sometimes taking risks to skip a pass, right? That wasn't super risky, but that's an important pass because now you're in an opportunity to cross, right? And I think he could have done better or hit Maludama on the overlap or something, but I don't know. For me, that's just like, it's cool to see. That's the importance of that, right? And that kind of goes with the next clip here. I don't know if you got anything to say about that. It's pretty simple.
No, yeah, I mean, it's simple, but I think you're right, where a lot of the times I'll just poke it right there to Mamba, but I saw boom, played up a little bit higher, and then that instead of having, if I would have passed it to Mamba, there would have been 8 players behind the ball. When I passed it up higher there, then now the numbers are only 4, and then Mamba's overlapping. So, yeah, I mean, it's a small thing, but I think it is a huge difference making that kind of pass.
Yeah, but that's like, these are the good things that I feel like you did in this game that you don't always do in other games. You do them, but not consistently. I feel like it's very consistent. Like here, I consider this a pass, man. You see, he's there, right? Like that forward pass right there, rather than maybe trying to go back to, I guess you couldn't really go back that much, but maybe going outside to Cheaty, you go straight up to the number 9. And obviously, what happens after this, man. Like, you guys end up getting a goal off this. And it's a really good find by Cheaty. Good pass. Not sure about the goalkeeping here, but a goal's a goal.
Goalkeeping. We'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, the near post, those guys could not have been happy. But that for me is just like, hey, that's what happens when you make those forward passes. Of course, you may not have so many choices, but like one little pass can lead to, something else. And that's why I think they're important as long as they're calculated and they're done, right. Like I thought you made a lot of decisions. So real quick, let's look at some of the loss, the loss of possessions you had in the game, man. Like, and I don't think these are bad at all, man. Like, so this one right here, this was at the end of the half, right? You're under pressure here from this big Kanji dude, and you go for a through ball, man. I mean, that's maybe one of the passes you were talking about, but I'm not sure there's so much wrong with that, man.
I mean, it's not like, I don't think the idea is 100% right. Like he's on, as you can see, the center back that's in front of him is facing me, so he'd have had to turn, and our forward's very fast. So if I could get this past him, he wouldn't necessarily be on goal, but it would be something good. I think if I could have this situation back, I think I would maybe hit it in the air.
Yeah.
I think I would maybe try to loft it over the top where, I'd try to inside foot and, get it through, and there just wasn't enough power. So, but I don't think the decision was wrong. I think maybe the style of pass could have been better.
I agree. So the tactical decision was right. The skill decision may have been wrong, right? Like, even if he does receive this and you get it on the ground, you slot it. Well, now he's running away from the goal. And like you said, this guy's really fast. And if you know that, well, you can almost get him into a foot race with this guy right here, right? Like, and over the top. So, but that's interesting, man. I didn't really do this much maybe at the end of my career, I thought about this, but like, what type of air pass would you hit on this ball? Just looking back, like.
Well, if I'm considering, the passes I have, I would probably go with more backspin. So I'd probably like a more, or like a harder chip ball that would have like a lot of backspin where I would almost like not really fall through with it, almost dig into the ground. And so it gets high, and then, it's on grass. So it would skip and keep going forward would probably be what I would do right here.
Yeah. And for me, man, like this is what I do with some of the top guys I have is like, we talk about like through balls and playing those balls because it's a different type of passing, man. And you're right, man. Like I think on this angle, man, I think of the game on angles on skill wise, I think of on angles, like that angle right there to hit this. If you really look at that angle, like if we do this out, it's probably like, and I'm going to not do like 120, but it's probably like 30 degrees. That's like a 30-degree angle at max. It's maybe 25. So essentially the long balls with backspin, those are much easier to do at 45 to 60 to 90, 45 to 90. So it's kind of confusing, but when you're more straight on with the pass, it's really hard to hit a backspin ball because you can't turn your plant foot as much and you can't slice through the ball. So I would say, man, if you could like even like hit like almost, and this is what I thought about at the very end of my career, if you could almost use like a crossing technique, you have to do it kind of light, but you like whip a ball, and by the time it goes here, it like lands over here, but it's curving away as well, right? It's not going towards the goalie, it's going out, right?
So you're saying instead of hitting this gap between the center back and the outside back, the gap between the two center backs.
Yeah, like over the top, right? Or between the two center, exactly. Because he's going out, and because that's what you were saying. Okay, you'd hit a flat ball out here.
Yeah. So the backspin ball that I would be talking about would be essentially right over the head of the center back who's directly in front of me.
Yeah.
Is my thought process.
Yeah.
Boom, and then it would skip. But I think the one that you're talking about would probably be better.
Yeah, but now when you say that, I didn't think of that because I thought this guy would probably block that, right? this Kanji guy here might have a chance. It might be close. He might block that, but also this guy looks like he's making his run here. And of course he can shift his run, right? Like his run can shift to go more there, but that's also taking him away from the goal. Like you're right. This guy has a lot of speed. So I feel like if you at least, even if he's challenging, man, even if he doesn't like get to the ball first, it's still a really awkward situation for their center back. If he's right in his back, a lot of times, I mean, you saw it, you guys scored a goal from a bad back pass, or this guy scored a goal from a bad back pass, man. So I think those aren't even lost passes. If you get that as a 50-50 between this guy and here, I don't even consider that a lost pass. I see some guys do that at high levels, man. They put it and they almost know their guy's going to lose it, but just they shift their whole team up. Right here, you really didn't have any other options. You could play whatever Perme underneath. He's in a tough situation. Maybe he can play, you play here and maybe he can play Yape if he goes out and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I think you made the right decision tactically. And then it's just like, if I really think about it, like the angle you're dribbling on, and I thought about where I wanted to hit it. And obviously it's way easier when you look at it after, but this is something I looked at the end of my career. I'm like, how do I get passing for each angle? Like, how do I hit a 30-degree angle if I want to hit that ball? And you really can't, like, it's hard to hit it with a flat ball because you need to turn your foot usually at least 45 degrees. So, if and like you said before, you were talking right. This is if you're running that way and then you hit it that way, that's like a 40 to 45 degrees, right? This is 90.
Yeah.
And obviously that's straight, right? That this line right here, that's the 45, like, and you're right there. You can't really hit that ball if you try to do a backsman. If you try to hit like a 30, which would be, a 30 would be right here, right? Like it's really hard to, and those are some of the things I look at skill level, but you have a pretty good cross, man. If you can use that technique, it'll also, when it lands, it will be spinning, which will take some forward movement off of it. So it's just something to think about. When I watched that, I was like, it's just like super nitpicky if we're talking about like decisions and stuff, but it's just something to think about. Like when you play long balls, start to use one of your crossing. Like you would think of that as a cross, right? But that can actually be a good long ball because by the time that lands and it curves, like by the time, because initially it'll start going this way, but by the time it lands and curves, it will be on that angle you need to hit. So like if I looked at my long range passing, I had a pass to do 0 degrees straight in front of me. I'm sure you do as well. And then I had a 45. And I had some 60s and things to go, like a little bit farther to the left. So I had a straight pass. If I was going that way, I had a pass 45, obviously. Here you can kind of use a similar technique because but if once you get in this range right here, if we're talking this range, like I think you got to have like you said, curves and chips in that passing range. And to by the time it lands, it will eventually end in that where you wanted it to go. So something to think about, man. I didn't really think about it till I was at the end of my career. I was like, how do I hit these gaps? Because I really broke down my passing and my skill, like my execution. I'm like, dude, I don't have a pass to hit that gap in the air if I need to, because it's just interesting, man. I don't know if you ever thought about it that way, but when you turn your plant foot, it allows you to slice through the ball and get that backspin. And you can also do it straight 0 degrees, but it's like, it's hard to hit that gap because it's hard to turn your plant foot. Not hard to, but it just doesn't factor in the same. Without turning your hips as much, you're not going to get the same amount of backspin. So, yeah, that's something I want to point out to you because no one ever told me about that. But if you watch De Bruyne and stuff, he'll hit through balls like that. They're curving in behind, right? They curve around and like I've analyzed their techniques. And I'm like, well, he's not hitting that many flat balls for these through balls. So maybe we can look at that one time too, look at his passes. But yeah, I don't think that was a bad decision. Like I said, tactically, that was the right decision. And now look how many players you guys have behind the ball. If you count these, if you count these two guys here, well, then you have, you have pretty much all 8 of your field players behind the ball there. So that's not that for me isn't a bad loss. If you look at it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree.
That was one of your losses. Here's another one. And to be honest, I thought this was a really good composure and a good decision. And you probably remember this one.
Fuck, yes.
Yeah. But look at the decision, man. You made the perfect decision, right? Like,
yeah.
Because there's no one near that Saarinen, that right back, man. And you hold it long enough so he makes a run. These guys are going to give you nothing over here pretty much, right? Like not nothing, but they're so far behind that if they're looking for a through ball, it'd almost be impossible. They need to be more even.
Yeah, but the good thing they're doing is they're dragging the defenders away, and it's leaving that pass open for me.
Exactly. Yeah, that's you're right. That's probably what they are doing. That's at the pro level. This guy here making that run here. So we say Green is Sheedy here. Yeah, he's taking this guy with it. He's taking this guy with him, right? And opening up all of this space here for Sarnan. And you see that too, which is great, man. And then like this guy, he actually does pretty well to intercept it. A lot of times that won't get intercepted, but he like kind of like moves his head over there and jumps. So it's a pretty good interception. But like, yeah, that was a perfect decision, man. And look at the possible reward if you have that, right? Like,
God, I know.
this guy has all of that space right there, man. And you have a 3v, whatever you want to say, 4v4 if he gets there. But like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think later, you just chip it, right? Like, yeah, as long as you get it maybe a little bit over. But the thing is, it's got to be pretty fast because that 9's there too. And at the highest level, you have to make those passes. But then later you lose it and like your hands up right here. I don't know if you're doing that because your coach was saying something or what.
No, I was saying my bad because like it was. I mean, it was so on, and if you like, I tried to do like like a half inside foot, like half chip ball, like so it like gets over the top of him and curves into his path. But really, if you look back at it, there's plenty of space for me to where I could have just hit it with the inside of my foot like around him, and it would have easily got there. So.
Yeah, probably.
Here,
it's not an easy pass.
Boom, and like, no. So I was more of just saying like my bad. That's all it was.
Yeah, I mean maybe, man. I think that if you curve it around there, you could probably hit it. Maybe.
Yep.
But it's got to be. That's not an easy pass either. It's got to have some decent spin on it. It's not like a top spin pass. But I think the chip or that on the ground, they're both difficult passes, but they're worth it, right? And I'm just saying you're too nice, man. I feel like half the kids out there, and that's your mentality too. Half the people out there wouldn't raise their hand after that, right? Usually you see a guy raise his hand when he costs an opportunity on goal. He makes a bad pass and he costs an opportunity on goal. Like that's usually when you see it, right? You don't always see it when it's cool that you're nice and things like that, but I just, don't want to affect your mentality because that was the right decision, man. That was and then the last pass was at the very end of the game, right? Like that I saw that you gave away. And I don't think it really mattered much at that. I mean, at that point, you're not really trying to keep it. I mean, almost just played in the corner. I mean, these were the 3 incomplete that I really counted in the game. Yeah, you receive the ball here. Tough situation, guys pressuring you hard. You try to play this, whatever this guy is, a new winger in, and he's running down the field.
Logan.
You think he's going to stay there? He's on a different page.
Yeah. So when I talked to him, because I mean, shit, he's on. There's tons of space there, but
yeah,
when I was talking to him, if you look at it, I'm kind of, I'm scrambling for the ball. I'm fighting for it, so my vision isn't upfield.
But there's yeah.
So like, I guess like if I do see this and I just hit it into space, he's super fast, and he would have got there. But I had just like kind of won the ball with a loose ball. And I just knew my teammate was there, and I thought he was just going to get it to feet, and I was just hitting it into that space. But it was just 2 different pages.
Yeah, man. But to be honest, you're right, dude. You're not even to the ball yet. You can't hit a long ball if it's not underneath your feet. You would like to hit a long ball over the top. You'd have to reach with your right foot essentially, and like somehow get underneath it. You know what I'm saying? So
and it was, there's another time where like. It's also in the second half where it's like also a ball kind of scrambling, and I try to poke it to our left winger, Helu, and it was kind of the same thing where he started taking off, where I was fighting for the ball, where both those were passes. They weren't just me poking for a ball.
Yeah.
But it's one of those situations where if I'm fighting for it, people need to. I'm not going to be playing in behind. It's going to be, I'm typically trying to find their feet because I'm scrambling for the ball, just 100%. Trying to get possession.
They have to read the guy in the ball. I think that was it right here.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't even count this as a pass, man, because it's a 50-50. You're going with that guy. You do the best you can. It's like a slide tackle. I mean, that's why I didn't count that as an incomplete pass, because like you're barely to the ball.
This is the same thing where it's like, because I do see him. This is a pass, but if he's, instead of running in behind, if he's coming to it, then I think it's a good pass. because I can't. That's tough to hit it behind right there.
No,
So, yeah.
I mean, dude, you barely get. How can you hit a long ball? Look how far your plant foot is on a skill side. How can you hit a long ball if your foot's that far away from the ball? Like you need the ball underneath your body to hit a long ball. So, I mean, on the skill side of it, but you should see that as well. Like you're reaching like that. Look how far you're reaching there for that. Like from there to there, like even Luka Modric, man, can't hit that long ball. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't count that as a loss. What could have happened if he was there is that bam, and then over the top here, right? Like that's what could happen if he was there, because that Yapai guy's right there. I mean, that would have been really good. And then you got a 2v1 over here now, man. But
Yep.
yeah, I agree with you on there. I didn't count it as a loss because you barely were on the ball. And like I said, the guy's on a different page. Like I don't think you should count that as a loss either. When you really look at things,
Yeah.
you didn't have possession of the ball, to be honest, in the first start. You did the best you could with there. I guess you could have tried to like got a foul. You're not very European, but you could have flopped, threw your body in front of it and flopped. But like, who knows if you're gonna get the ball?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if you could have done that, to be honest. You got your leg there before him. That was a good reach touch. Yeah, man. I think for the most part, that's why when I looked at the game, man, I told you I said it's a really good game, man, because I thought all the times you lost the ball were good ones. Whereas, like, I guess we can kind of look back. This is just an example. It's a different situation, but if we go 22-13, this should be on here as well. Yeah. So if we go, no, that's not it. 22. Oh, that's the wrong. Sorry, that's the wrong one there. I thought I had somewhat organized these. But there's one, I don't know if you remember the clip where you essentially, you got the ball over the top from Yepe, and then you tried to, I think, pull it back and you lost it.
It was just that one. You just had it.
Oh, that was it?
Yep.
This one?
Probably the one right after this.
This is it?
Let it run. No. Go to like, is there one that's like around like 23 minutes?
Yeah, I may have organized. I may have put it up. Oh, this might be it.
Let's say you had it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's a good pocket for you to find. It's a pretty good ball from him. A little high, but you get it here. And then like,
good ball.
What?
I said no, it was a good ball.
Yeah, good ball. And I think in hindsight, you go for it, man. I think it's bouncing. Maybe that's the reason. But what I was trying at the end of the day is like, hey, sometimes even when you try to play simpler, it can make the situation a little bit, worse in that situation. That guy did have a really good tackle. He like went through your legs or something. Or I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, I went for, just a standard like Cruyff turn, but it just got cut underneath my feet. Because I mean, when I trapped it, now when you see it on video, like our forward Vucenovic, he's open. Like if I hit this over the top of this first defender, or I guess the second one, that's a goal. But I didn't see it. So when I took the trap, I saw the winger recovering pretty fast. So I was just gonna put my foot on it, like pull it back, boom, keep possession. I tripped on the ball.
Yeah. If I look back here, you do take a check before you receive the ball. And I think that's more for a defender, but now maybe like, it's hard to see here, but maybe you can like, as the ball's in the air, I don't think it's hard to see. You may take one check right there, but like, try to scan a little bit as the ball's in the air, because he hit a really high ball. And you would remember if you're scanning when the ball's in the air, of course you want to trap the ball, right? Like, but there's a lot of dead time when the ball's in the air. They're like, all right, it's coming to me. It's not going to change its flight. It's hard to see here if you do, but then the picture a little bit more. But it seems like you look up, but I think you had already made a decision almost before you trapped it, right? Like you said, the winger is coming.
Yeah, I mean, I think after I trapped it, because then I could see him coming out of the corner of my eye, and I knew he was, because I lifted my leg a little bit like I was going to cross, and he dives in for it. If I pull off the skill, then it's fine. I bring it back, and we keep possession in the final third, but I tripped on the ball. So
yeah,
these things
that happens, man. Trust me. I've
Yeah.
done it
Yep.
plenty of times. All right, 11, 13, 30. This will probably be the last one of this here. These never go short, man.
Mhm.
We did have the Bluetooth. What is this? So this was this clip. I think. So this is where you established. Actually, I'm not sure what 1330. I'm not sure what I had from that one. I added those in at the end, but let me see if I can 438 on the last one here too. Yeah. I think here, once you play this ball, I know you're a little bit on your heels when you play it, but that's another one where like, hey, play it and then just get underneath them, give them an option, here once you play it, just because maybe it'll open up for Yepe after. Like, I think you're on your heels.
Yeah, I think
you guys just
rewind it, just put it back to the.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. Yeah, I think
it's
maybe even get out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. Drag a player away and like, okay, so you're maybe going in Sarin in space, but you're taking this player away from, you're going in Sarin in space or here or whatever, but you're taking this player away as well, potentially. And then he's got a tough situation. I think he plays an okay ball there, but he has a pretty tough situation at that point. Yeah, I was just kind of looking through it again on that one. All right. What do you see when you see Olu? When you're watching a game, what are you looking for when you're watching a game for the kids out there?
For my game or the opponent?
The opponent.
So I'll always look at formation and then like typical patterns that they might do defensively, or I mean offensively. And then I'll look at the center midfielders and, what they usually do when they receive a ball from a center back or an outside back, how often they try to switch the field and what foot they usually turn on to, so I can try to figure out how I can steal a ball from them. And then I'll look at what spaces are usually on. So, for example, when I was just watching Olu play against Inter, the space that was on a lot of the times was in front of their back line behind their midfielders. And it was usually on whenever their Inter's midfielders drop deep because Olu kind of presses.
Yeah.
So when the midfielders drop deeper, like kind of came to get the balls from the backs, then Olu's midfield came up, and then boom, there was a bunch of space because Olu's, especially on the right side, they're not the most athletic, so they're not as willing to step up. So there's a lot of space right there where it's get bypassed, bump back, and then we're out, and then we're through. So it's kind of just looking at where the space is in the midfield, and then also what players are a little lazy defensively. So another example for Olu is their left winger doesn't defend the most. Their right winger, a little bit more. But when I'm looking at it, I'm seeing that if their wingers aren't defending much, that means the outside backs are going to be on a lot in this game, especially in our attacking third. I noticed that Inter was able to get the ball into the middle and then out to the other side for the outside backs. It'll be on a lot. So it's all just looking for the different spaces that should be on, and then also looking for little things that the people in my position will do that I can steal the ball from them in our half, and who knows, might create a goal.
Yeah, perfect, man. I mean, I think that's really good for kids to understand. I think I was just thinking about this, man. I wish, like, I don't know if the leagues here do it, man, but I wish they put the games just for public, for everyone to see. And the other coaches probably have the games, like, right? Like if Fire's playing, like, I don't know, Columbus Crew or something, the crew probably has the Fire's games, but like give the kids access to the game so they can start learning how to be a pro at a young age, right? Like we can talk to these kids about it, but they don't, all their games are not on, they can go get them on live on Instat or whatever, like you, but they don't have to have Instat. They don't have to break it down, but like let these kids at least try to be a professional at a young age. But I think it is more possible at an older age. And I think MLS Next is probably on the right track for that. But Yeah, I think that's big. That was a big part of my career, man. It was like in minimum 2 or 3 games from the other team, man. I would watch every week, especially when I went into a new league. I didn't know the guys in Slovakia, but it caught me up because when I went over there, they all knew each other. There's not many people come in and out. There's not that many foreigners in that league, but like no one knew me. And I kind of knew the old guys because I watched them play 2 or 3 games or the guys that had been playing. So, and if a new guy came in, I knew. So that's awesome. Yeah, I agree. What formation did they play in that game?
So they're going to be in a 4-3-3. So, or it's kind of like, they have their back four, and then they have, he's not on the field right now. They started the number 8 Malolo right there in this game, but who's usually been playing is they have a young guy who's like a holding midfielder, but he's a like possession guy, not like a Gattuso holding midfielder. So
Yeah.
they have him, and then they have the number 44. He's a little more box to box, I would say, because he comes deeper, and then he also gets forward a little bit. And then they have the Eremenko. I don't know what number he is, and he's pretty much an attacking midfielder. And he plays off typically more on the right side, where the 44 plays up the left. And then their wingers stay very up high. And they're very good 1v1 players. So they're trying to get them isolated. And then the forward's a hard-working guy who kind of comes deeper sometimes. So it's like a you could call it a 4-2-3-1 or, 4-1-4-1, 4, any of those numbers, whatever you want to call it. It's a 4-3-3.
Yeah, I mean, when I watched it, they were definitely playing a straight 4-1-4-1 to almost like the 44 in this game, right? They're away, and that's why I watched this game. Like when I went to go watch games, first ones I would watch for me were the ones that were most relevant to the game I was playing. And yeah, the newer is the better too. There's you have pros and cons both ways because now, like you said, one guy might have fallen out of the lineup, another guy's in it, so I'd watch both, right? But I didn't have loads of time to watch everything. So I went and I said, all right, let me watch an away game that's similar. And yeah, I mean, I saw a 4-1-4-1 and this 44, like I said, not the best defensively, but decent on the ball from what I saw. I didn't watch so much of it. And I'm sure the other guy. So is this guy going to, I guarantee, is this the guy you were talking about? This guy's got to be playing. This guy. The other midfielder you were talking about, like the 10?
Have it play a little bit so I can see him. It looks like a 10.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
He's good. I think
he's a pretty good player.
Yeah, I mean, it's little tendencies like finding pockets and stuff. For me, he's one of their most dangerous players. But I think, yeah, that's got to be who you're talking about. So I think a lot's going to be similar. Maybe like you said, that young guy is going to be in there instead of this 8 because the 8 runs a lot, man. But from what I watched, I wasn't super impressed. But yeah, I saw a 4-1-4-1, and when you see a 4-1-4-1, right away, like, all right, there's a lot of space if you can get behind that, that anywhere behind the between the 2 blocks of 4, right? Like the one's in there to block the center backs, but if you can get the space in front of the outside backs, there's a lot of space, like that's what I always think about.
There's in the, I've seen their last I watched so many games. I've seen their last 3 or 4 games now. But I've only typically I'll watch the majority of the games in the league, but I don't sit there and really focus unless it's, like today, for example, when I was really focusing it. But in all the games, it seems like there's usually going to be space right in front of those center backs.
Yeah. So this is I started watching them. This is what I saw right away. Like, here's their back line, right? You have your one here. And then this is just in the beginning of the game. For the easiest way to tell is the beginning of the game. See how they line up, right? Like if you're in the game for a player out there, see how they line up, see how they react in the very beginning. I don't know if you ever heard people say Messi literally doesn't do anything for the first 2 minutes because he's analyzing the other team, right? He just jogs around, the ball. He takes those 2 minutes off. And I'm not saying everyone can do that, right? Especially if you're a holding mid, but that's when I watch them, I'm like, all right, that's a 4-1-4-1. And if you look at that, I mean, a lot of space, if you can find it. This is the beginning of the game, but if you can find it here, that's usually a lot of space. right now there's not as much, but like that, I think that's important. And you saw that too. It's at 4-3-3. It changes depending on what personnel they have in there. But in this game, I think they play like that. And I think there's a lot of space if you can find it. A couple things, and one of these times, I think you and I go through this, man, and we just show a player how to analyze a game a little bit. But like, let's see, a couple things I found here. I think it was forward goes out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he typically does this because I only watched a little bit, but like you see when he gets the ball here, the goalie gets the ball, he plays the goal kick here. I guess I don't know where I put that, man. But essentially, maybe it's right here. I put the wrong clip in there. He plays it out like, and it looks like they let him go out as soon as he plays it out. This guy comes really hard, and he steers him right. And now this guy's got no options there, and that's tough to break down. Like if they do that, if that's their plan, like all right, let them play out in the goal kicks. Then their forward goes hard. They steer him over, and not the best decision there. But what do you do there? To be honest, like play the outside.
Was this the game? Was he playing forward in this game? The guy who pressures the ball right there.
You're right. Yeah, I'm not sure. Is that they?
I think so. So there was. I think it was in this game. He was playing as the center forward, but he will. Not that this matters, not too much, but he'll be the right winger tomorrow. He's the center forward in this game.
What number?
But yeah, because that
25.
Yeah, 25.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the center forward in this game. Yeah.
Yeah, and this game he is like 8 is they. It looks like they play a 4-1-4-1 and 8's in the middle with that 14 guy. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's their plan, right? Because I don't think that's not always the player's decision. But just be aware of that, because if that happens, well, I mean, you're going to have to show, and then maybe you have that diagonal option as well for the other center mid if that happens, if they press over like that,
Yeah, what I noticed how they're doing some of their pressing too was, so for example, the forward's pressing this guy right here. If this goes to the other center back, like let's say it gets switched out to the other center back here, like he puts his foot on it, gets over there. Their opposite side, outside midfielder, he'll press that center back. So then what's on is getting it from center back to center back into me in the midfield, outside back, and then we're out, if you're understanding what I'm saying. So if this center back who has the ball right now, if he were to get the ball to this other center back, then Olu's press, they'll bring their left midfielder, and he'll be the one who presses this center back, which will leave our right back open. So if we can get it here, he can get it to our center back, put his foot on it, whatever, and then bang to me, then to the outside back, and then we're out.
So you're saying the number 5 here to play it to the 4. When would he have that option though? Maybe through you first?
No. I'm not saying in this, like right now he can't do it. Yeah. But in Olu's press, what they'll usually do is the forward will, try to steer him this way.
Yeah.
But then if he doesn't, and then we can get it switched out to the other center back, then it's the outside this left midfielder. Yeah. He'll be the one who steps to this center back.
Yeah.
So then it's going to leave our outside back very much open.
I agree. And then it's just, how do you get it there? Like in this situation, how do you get it there? Right. Like could this be you or Yape right here? And then another guy comes in here, receives the ball here, and then plays out here. Right. Like, and this guy.
I think if I'm looking at this, you got two options. This center back could play to his left back could play to the right center back.
Yeah.
Bang, bang. Or, I mean, I think always the easiest way is if the center back is dribbling with it. And, like we've talked about a million times, forwards are terrible at defending. If this center back just puts his foot on it and turns, the forward's going to keep running and then just hit it.
Yeah.
To the other center back.
Yeah. I mean, I think Freeberg could probably potentially do that too. You have to have a center back with some feet, right? Um,
Yeah,
but
of
but
course.
I think he can do that. But I think the first option you said is probably right. And if you see that starting to
Yeah.
break down, be like, or play outside. That's what I thought too at first. Play it outside, and then that guy's got to just play like a driven or chip pass over, right? Like, and then you're out. But
Yeah, you know.
like you said, when they do that, then once you release the pressure, then there's going to be so many gaps and it's going to open up. But if you just play it
Oh
down the
yeah.
field, long ball like that, it's safe, right? But it's like they're all expecting that. The
Yeah.
whole team is waiting for you to do it. That's their plan.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, just in case they do that, because it is away from home and a team that's similar. And like you said, that guy might not be playing forward, but that may be their strategy, just in general. All right. This
Mhm.
one, 1240. So yeah, I agree. Same thing you said. I said the wingers are lazy, right? I think this right winger, if you look at him, man, he does like nothing, man. Like he's chilling over
Yeah.
here. They lose the ball, and this number 14 works really hard. That guy, that number 10, he works really hard to get back. And dude, this guy is just the guy's nowhere in sight, man. But he's still nowhere
See,
in
yeah,
sight.
this is the left wing. This is the left winger I was talking about.
Oh, okay, he
He's
playing on
just
the
playing
other
on the.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's super lazy. So in my opinion, if you lose the ball, like and he's not behind it, dude, play that side because it's gonna be open. This guy's working as hard as he knows it, man. He's a smart player. I like that guy, 14. But
It's pretty interesting when I was thinking about how they balance it out though. And it's kind of funny when we'll talk about wingers being kind of lazy, but now look at him, look how open he is because he
yeah,
didn't track back. So it's kind of dangerous depending on what side he is. If
yeah.
if he doesn't track back, and then if we lose it, he's open. So it's
That's
I would
true.
be furious if he was my teammate, but at the same time, it's almost dangerous that he
Yeah,
doesn't defend. If
it
that if
is,
that makes sense.
at the end of the day, like it's a give and take, right? Like a lot of times coaches will tell this guy right here, don't go very far up because this guy is not, that guy over there is not going to go up, right? And you guys have to figure out
Hmm.
where's the balance there. Do we think we're have a better, we're going to have more attack and it's worth the risk? And then maybe that's when the center mids have to cover for him a little bit too. If that guy goes up, this seven, dude, you're right, man. He's wide open. These guys, there's no one covering in the mid. Oh, maybe that guy was covering, but he's got to understand he can't leave because they're. I
See,
guess the
that's
center.
that's what I was
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking when I was watching it. I was saying that yeah, I have it written down exactly what I said. Yeah, I was saying that because the wingers don't come back so much, that then it's really important that the midfield's very aware of it, and um, there's a lot of balance in our midfield that we don't go up too high so that we can stay back and be aware of the counter to prevent those things, to cover our outside backs at times. So I think it's almost a center midfielder's job to be aware of him, not tracking back, always being aware of him.
I agree, man, and I think as long as I think they're okay right now because you still have a free guy back here to you have a free guy here to potentially go 1v1. But if he, I wouldn't want an out a winger like this that looks like this to go at a bigger guy like this, right? Like without
Mm-hmm.
support, put it that way. Right now it's a 2v2 if it gets out there. So that's a good point, man. Just be aware of that, and if he is lazy and that dynamic of it. Um, yeah, but there's going to be pockets because he's lazy, I think, and I think that's important that you see that as well. I just had a couple more here, man. 14. Yeah, so essentially, when they're forcing the ball outside and they're playing a back four here, or sorry, they're playing a line of four. It started a line of four. Now he's stepping up and they're doing what should happen. This guy's lazy. Obviously, we know that. He should tuck in a little bit, just like a back four when you do play line of four. All right. So once this ball is played over here, now this guy should have started. If he can start higher and wait for that ball to come in. So if he can start here and then eventually go into there, he'll have more space and he'll be able to play the ball out. Like he starts there and now he's already cut off. He probably could still receive the ball, but then that's a give and go, or, essentially there should be a winger probably there over here as well. Just an easy one touch play. But like you see here, that's going to happen a lot, because if they're playing a line of 4, if they do that against you, well, that's what happens, right? You see, it's a line of 4. It's a line of 4 here. And now this guy, once this guy steps up, well, now, this guy should shift in. This guy should shift in. This guy should shift in. That's how it should go. So just like a back 4. So now the ball gets played out because the center is the most dangerous spot. And now if this guy, they're both in the same space kind of right here. So maybe this guy doesn't even need to be that close either. But if this guy started here and then went over here, I'm telling you that space would be open for a give and go, or there the winger is, or a one touch pass down to the winger like that. So I think if they do.
Yeah, rewind that again.
Yeah.
Pause it. Yeah. So if he's just, because I mean, there's no difference if he's there or if he's, 3-4 yards higher up the field in the position that you're talking about. So yeah, I think get higher in this situation like you're talking about. Yeah.
Because now look at this red guy's angle. Look at his angle into the pressure, right? Like he goes there, but if he's back here, either he doesn't see him, or he starts, I feel like he starts from farther here, or he doesn't see him maybe so easily and he doesn't know he's going to be there. But now he knows where he's coming from. He knows to essentially cut that off. And like, could he play a pass there? Yes, maybe if he disguises it, right? But like it will be open if you start farther up and then come back. And this, if they do play the 4, this will happen a lot. The ball will go outside because these guys actually, minus this dude down here, these guys actually play a pretty good, like their shifting's pretty good for the line of 4 in the midfield. And that will happen. He'll tuck in, he'll go out. You'll be able to play a pass as long as you tell Cheaty or whoever it is, I'll play a one touch over the top or to your feet. Because right now, over the top's on. I can tell you right now, this guy's over committing, and it's not I've seen you hit these passes though, quite a bit though, right? Like under pressure, you can hit that pass, and that's a one touch over the top in the space. It's just one way, or you could spin out. But like obviously, like I said, this guy's probably too close. Like this guy's probably killing some of the space here, dragging his defender in. But I just saw that. I'm like, all right, you can break them down. That situation will happen a lot. It will go to the outside back. Just something to think about, like starting a little higher up, like you said, if you see they're in that line of 4, and then dropping back, getting the ball in beneath there, and then going.
Yeah.
24. I don't even know if this is the right clip. No, that's not the right clip. So I don't know if this is, I think this might be for Olu. Yeah. All right. 24:30. Oh no, maybe this is it right here. I put pocket behind. Yeah. I think, if you can switch, so number 44 gets caught up, but I think if you can switch the field, like look at all the space in front of that, like that pocket right there now is giant, right? If he gets caught out, because I don't know, like you said, if there's another guy plays in there, he didn't really look like a number 10, to be honest, but number 6. But I think there's here's what I'm talking about. Here's the pocket I was talking about, man. So this is what I was talking about, like when we were last game against Holy Coal, like look at these guys, look at where this guy's spot is right there. I really think this is going to work against a lot of guys. And this guy works hard, but he's able to open it up because he's right behind that line. He's too far for the midfielder really to go up, because if he goes up, it opens up stuff behind him, but he's right behind that line. So it's hard for them to see. So I think that will be open at times, man, especially between those two right there in the middle.
Yeah.
Because at 44, I don't know if they do the same thing. He's 4-1-4-1 in this game. He sits back there. So in between those 4, if you can kind of, at times when you establish possession, you're higher up the field. find it, just drop back in those pockets. And actually, after watching this and talking about this last week, I did this with a couple of my players, man, just working on like finding that pocket right behind. And then as the ball's moving, you're dropping back with the ball. He does it a little bit here. He doesn't drop back much, but that 14 comes hard, which makes it more difficult on him.
Yep.
And then there was one more example of the forward going out. So maybe that does happen. There was the last thing. There was one more example here of the forward, I think, going out 29-20. I only watched like 30 minutes of this game, to be honest. 29-20. Yeah. So he goes out. No, they must go back around. Yeah. Well, that's on. I'm not sure what I had here. Example of 2. Oh, example. I don't know. I don't know what you see from this play here. I can't even remember what I had here.
Oh, I think same thing that you talked about, because the midfielder stepped out and then it went to the outside. They went from center back to outside back.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, man.
There was a gap. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Boom. Step back in.
Yeah, this guy steps all the way out. I said forward. I guess I should have said midfielder. This guy steps out, and then there's that gap there. And it's actually pretty open, but he says no because he's got no option over here, right? Like, and I think he knows that. But like you see his hand out right there. He's saying don't play it. But yeah, you're right, man. It's the same thing. And like I said, that will happen a lot. He'll press. That guy will be tucked in, and you see how he steps out here, and that pass is really open. He just has nothing there. So that will be open a lot. If you can start a little bit higher, wait for this guy to go out there, because he's going to go out. One of the midfielders on the weak side is going to step out. And then this guy, he doesn't do it as much on this one, but this guy in the game will usually tuck in a little bit, and then he'll go out to this guy. And then as long as you're here and you can go out like that, man, it's going to give you a chance to get the ball. Just like he did there. He did it pretty well.
Yeah, and then it should be one touch bang to a winger, and then to whoever's ever playing right mid for us.
Exactly.
Just outside back to me, bang. Yeah.
Or you can get it and skip a pass, right? Like if you feel comfortable, you get on it here, you skip a pass out to here. Instead, he has to go center back to center back. Oh, I didn't see that guy there. But that guy should be, this guy should be, to be honest, a little bit farther over. I think usually this guy should be over, and then you potentially have a pass out there. So that skipping that pass, if you can get it out there, then you get them all the switch. But yeah, I mean, ideally you'd like to do the winger, like you said. But I think that's what I saw. If they're playing a 4-1-4-1 or, something similar, but they played in this game, it was like a real strict 4-1-4-1. It looked like they were from what I saw, and this 44 didn't fit that role of the one very well, but on the ball, he's okay. Yeah, but man, if you can try to do a couple more of these, and it was cool to see like this guy do it a little bit here. If you can do a couple more of, I don't know where it was, but this one here, these give and goes, man, or you just like, you get the guy to overcommit. He's a forward, you play it. Now I'm in on the other side, right? Like, and he's just demanding the ball and getting it back. And you did that well a couple times in the game, but they were more like square passes and demanding it. But like, if you can just orchestrate a little bit more like that, that's what I was kind of talking when I said give and goes last game. I'm not talking about in the corner final third, but things like that, like just get him to overcommit. Because you're good at that, like waiting, and then he overcommits, and then you kind of just orchestrate out and, like you said, up, back, through, or right side, wrong side, however you want to say it. But yeah, man, let me know if you have any questions, man. I think it'll be crazy if you don't start after last game. I mean, obviously they had already brought this guy in. They'd already made that decision before this last game. They didn't make a decision after the last game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he had.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty, like, it was clear and known that we were looking for a center midfielder for the past month. So I've always been knowing the one's going to come in, but it's just, that's how it is at this level. It's not it's not youth soccer. They're always going to you're always going to be fighting for your position with someone. There's always going to be quality players. So, it's just up to me to play well, to continue to play well. And I'm pretty positive I'll play next game. So now I just need to play well in the game and keep my spot essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I think you bring that a really good point up, is like, guys don't understand that in youth soccer, you pretty much have a limited geographic area, right? Like players can come from, soccer's or whatever, say a team around here or Chicago Fire. Well, they can come from Chicago. You're not going to have guys coming from Brazil, but now you got a guy coming from Greece, right? Like you can come from anywhere in the world. There's no limit. The only limit's the team's budget. So you're competing against everyone in the world. So some guys are always trying to eat your lunch, right? Like, and it's good you bring that up. This isn't youth soccer where like, hey, unless a guy moves in the area, your spot is pretty safe. Like, 'cause if you're an elite player, I always bringing someone else in. But I don't know. Just think about this. I think on the perspective of it, when you go to this game, play this game, is like the game before that, I think you played pretty well. You subbed in 40 minutes into the game or whatever, and you played pretty well. But, at that point, this was the first, maybe besides the Marenheim game, this is the first time I've seen you, like I said, play a lot of forward passes and start to demand the ball and stuff. And if you've only done that on a couple games, like, it's just something to think about. Maybe if it for whatever reason, I think they're probably just thinking, hey, we want to have someone just in case Bush gets injured to be that 6. But the other case is like, hey, we want someone that's maybe a little bit more two-way. Obviously, that's just the way I would look at it, right? Like if I was from a coaching perspective, I think one of the biggest mistakes they can make is to take you off the field, but because of the defensive valuability you have. But I think last game. And to be honest, I think last game you provided a lot of you were valuable on and off the ball. So on defense and offense. So I would just think of it that way. They didn't pull the guy in after the last game. They made that decision a while ago. And like I said, there's so many different scenarios, and there's no reason to really go through them in your head too much. But just keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep building on what you're doing and play every game, man, like it's a trial, right? Like, that's the best thing you can do is watch these games before, analyze what you're doing, visualize it, man. And, you're even more like you always are as a pro, but now you're even more into like, hey, like every game could be my last game in a while. So I got to make sure like I play this game like it's my last game in a while.
Yeah, 100%. It's how it is. And, it's not easy. And obviously, like you said, you don't want to run through all the scenarios in your head too much because it'll just make you crazy because, at the end of the day, I don't control if I'm going to be on the field or not. All I control is how I'm going to play. So, and it is the way I'm viewing it is that right now, every game is almost like a trial situation where I need to go out there and ball out or else I'm not going to have a spot and I might not have a job. So, I just need to go out there and not be safe. I need to try to, be an assertive player, both defensively and offensively, like I was last game, and then make the decision as tough as I can for the coach to keep me in the field, even if he wants to put someone else on there.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think it would be crazy. And, there's a reason you're the captain. Guys respect you there, but I don't know, man. I don't know, but I honestly think it, like I said, it's probably more of just like, hey, Bush has been out for a couple games. We've been pretty lost when he's not there. Like we need someone that can fill in that spot because in my opinion, you have no one, and you didn't have him last season either. You have no one that's similar. Like when I was in Slovakia, we didn't either when I had a bunch of Brazilians my first year. And then the second year or the first half of the season, second half, they brought in the guy that different player than me. I don't think he did the same job as me, but he was very good. He was like a U20 like former national team player or something. Really young kid, came from the top league. He was good, man. He was very similar. And like you said, it made me check my shoulder a little bit more, when it came to, like he's on my heels. And, for guys, it brings the best in you, man, for warriors and competitive guys. And I like that, man. Sometimes you don't want to see that, but at the same time, in the back of your head, like I'm going to rise to the occasion because of this. Right. Like, and if for whatever reason you don't play, man, like you can go ask the coach, man, in a nice way. Is like, hey, what did I do wrong, right? Like, what can I do better? Let me go analyze the game. Let me know what I can do better, right? Like, if that happens, and then you'll improve, because of it. So, yeah, man, I'm excited for it either way. But next game is Friday, right?
Yep, Friday.
Friday at home. All right. Do work, man. Let me know if something comes up tomorrow. Just that, like, if he goes through patterns or whatever, you guys do set pieces and you really don't think you're in the lineup, ping me a quick message or something. I'd be interested to know, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Dude, you can't bring in a guy and start him the first game within the first week.
Nah, I would assume not, but
Yeah,
you never know. But we'll see
that would
tomorrow.
be crazy. I've very rarely seen that. I've only seen that from like guys that were established in the league already. They had already been big players that transferred over. So I don't think there's a chance. But either way, man, it was good, man. I know these go a little bit longer than planned usual. I think you and I just
it's all good.
Just talk about footy some, but yeah, man. If I see anything else, I'll let you know, man. I think you're good to go. You're gonna do well, man. Do the same thing you did last time, man. I think last game was really good. To be honest, I was one of my best games I've seen you play. I think Marenheim game was really Marenheim. That was a really good game too. But maybe that was the best one. But this is one of them, right? If you complete one or two of those passes, they become through balls, and you give yourself a dangerous pass on your stat sheet as well. So I don't think you need to think about like the percentage completed and all that stuff unless you know your coach is going to those. But at the end of the day, I think everyone sees the game for what it is. How many chances are we stopping? Which, if you actually look at it, man, if you look at your numbers, you break up so many balls. You receive the ball. I think you received the ball. You received it 15 times, but you made 27 passes. So that means you won possession of it. And this is 12 times and made passes. There's another probably 5 or 6 where you won it and another guy took the ball, right? So that's how valuable you are. It also says maybe we can get in the ball a little bit more just from passes, and we'll talk about that later. But you're breaking so much up, man, with your duels and things like that. So it would make no sense. So I think you just keep your head where it is, control what you can control, and we'll kind of look at things after this next game.
Yep. All right. That sounds like a good plan.
All right, brother. Good stuff, man. Appreciate you coming on.
All right. Appreciate it. All right. See you, man.
See you, brother.